Sometimes the happiest moments of our lives turn into the very moments that unveil the most painful truths. At the beginning of her marriage in a sunny tropical resort, everything seemed perfect for a young woman. But sometimes the truth cannot be as bright as a beautiful lie. This is not a honeymoon story. This is the story of a woman finding herself. Now, before we start this incredible story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments where you are listening to this story from. The Florida sun was hitting my face so directly that morning in Key West that it physically hurt to open my eyes. The golden light filtering through the hotel room window made the sheer white curtains practically glow. Listening to the sound of Carter breathing beside me, I felt a strange sense of unease. It was the second day of our marriage and everything seemed perfect. But that little voice inside me was whispering quietly, "My name is Emma. I am 29 years old. And 2 days ago, I had married Carter in a lavish, extravagant wedding in New York City. His family came from extreme wealth. His father was a well-known figure in the real estate development sector. Carter was one of the young executives at the firm. He was 32. He was handsome, polite, and always knew the right things to say. We had decided to get married after a 2-year relationship. For our honeymoon, Carter had chosen this ultra-luxury beach resort in Key West. It was an oceanfront property with a private beach, a place where every single detail was catered to. From the balcony of our suite, you could see the crystal-clear turquoise waters of the Gulf. Everything was like a dream, but sometimes dreams are exactly what we need to wake up from. That morning, Carter had woken up early. He had showered, shaved, and the scent of his expensive aftershave filled the room. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, sitting next to me. "Shall we head down for breakfast? It's almost 10. I smiled. "Good morning. I actually wanted to sleep a little longer." No. Let's not waste this beautiful day. I reserved some lounge chairs on the beach. We'll sunbathe until noon. Then we'll spend some time by the infinity pool. And I made reservations at that exclusive seafood restaurant for tonight. He had planned everything. Carter was always like this. Controlled, organized, a man who calculated every detail. Sometimes it bothered me, but before the wedding, I used to tell myself that this was just his way of showing love. We went down for breakfast. There were dozens of couples in the massive dining room where the buffet was set up. Everyone was on their honeymoon. Young couples, people holding hands, smiling, exchanging loving glances. Carter loaded my plate with eggs, bacon, and fresh fruit. He poured my coffee. "I'm going to take care of everything this week," he said. "You're just going to relax." After breakfast, we went to the beach. The lounge chairs were right by the water. Carter started applying sunscreen. As I looked around, there was a middle-aged couple sitting under the umbrella to our right. The woman was reading a book, and the man was scrolling through his phone. Under the umbrella to our left sat a young woman all by herself. She was wearing sunglasses, but you could tell from her facial expressions that she was unhappy. "What are you looking at?" Carter asked. "Nothing. Just watching the people." We stayed on the beach for hours that day. Carter was constantly checking his phone. Work emails kept coming in. His father called a few times. They had conversations about the company. I went into the ocean. I swam, but Carter never got in the water. "I'll go in a bit," he had said, but he never did. We had lunch at the poolside restaurant. Carter was busy with his phone again. Suddenly, a waiter approached our table. "Miss Emma," he said quietly. "The front desk is looking for you. There is an urgent situation." My heart rate spiked. "What happened? I don't know, ma'am. They just said they needed to see you." Carter immediately stood up. "I'll come too." "No," the waiter said with slight hesitation. "They specifically asked only for Miss Emma." A strange expression crossed Carter's face. "Why do they only want Emma?" The waiter shrugged. "I don't know, sir. I'm just delivering the message." I stood up. I had a terrible feeling in my gut. My legs were shaking as I walked toward the lobby. When the front desk clerk saw me, he immediately came over. "Miss Emma, please come with me. The hotel manager is waiting for you." "What's going on? Is there a problem? Mr. Davis will explain everything to you himself." We took the elevator to the top floor. We stopped in front of a door at the end of the hallway. The sign on the door read, "Security and Surveillances." The clerk knocked and we walked in. The room was dark. There were dozens of monitors on the walls showing every corner of the resort. A man in a suit in his mid-40s was sitting in the middle. He stood up. "Miss Emma, I'm Robert Davis. I am the general manager of this resort. Please sit down." My heart was beating out of my chest. What happened? Did something happen to my family? No. Everyone in your family is fine. But I need to show you something. Please try to stay calm. He pointed to one of the screens. While checking the security footage this morning, I noticed something. Normally, we do not interfere with the private lives of our guests, but what I saw was deeply disturbing, and I felt it was my duty to tell you. What did you see? I whispered. He touched the screen. The image came into focus. It was the hotel lobby. The date and time were visible. Last night, 2:47 a.m. Carter was walking through the lobby, but there was someone with him, a tall blonde woman. They were walking hand in hand. The world began to spin around me. It gets worse, mister, Davis said in a sympathetic tone. He switched to another camera. It was the elevator footage. Carter and that woman were getting into the elevator. Carter had his arm around her waist. The woman was smiling at him. When I checked the elevator logs, I saw this. He switched to another screen. Inside the elevator, Carter and the woman were kissing. My eyes welled up with tears, but I didn't cry. I just kept staring at the screen. I checked to see which floor they went to, the manager said. They went up to your floor. We have the hallway camera footage too. The screen changed. It was our corridor. Carter and the woman stopped in front of a room, 2 doors down from ours. The woman opened the door. They went inside together. They went into room 412. That room was given to a guest who checked in last night. Her name is Jessica Brooks. She arrived at the hotel alone. According to our records, she booked a 3-day stay. I couldn't find my voice. I just sat there, staring at the blank screens. At 5:30 inches the morning, your husband left the room. He returned to your suite. The woman is still in her room. She is currently on the property. Mr. Davis turned his chair and looked at me. Miss Emma, I know this is incredibly difficult, but I thought you had the right to know. It is the 2nd day of your marriage. You deserved the truth. My hands were shaking. My vocal cords refused to work. Finally, I managed to say something. Are you sure? Maybe there is a mistake. Mr. Davis shook his head sadly. I checked the footage multiple times. Our facial recognition system confirms it as well. That is Mr. Carter. I stood up. My legs could barely carry my weight. Did you say that woman is still in her room? Yes. What was the room number 412? But Miss Emma, please don't do anything rash. Maybe you should take a moment to think. Thank you, I said. My voice was trembling, but it was resolute. I really appreciate you telling me. I walked out of the security room. I stopped in the hallway. My hands were balled into fists. I didn't know if I was filled with rage or profound sorrow. It felt like both were completely mixed together. I got into the elevator. I went down to the 4th floor. I stood in front of room 412. Before knocking, I took a deep breath. Then I knocked 3 times. Footsteps approached from inside. The door opened. The tall blonde woman from the video stood before me. Her makeup was done, but she looked exhausted. When she saw me, the expression on her face shifted. You. I am Emma, Carter's wife. His wife on our honeymoon. All the color drained from the woman's face. She opened her mouth but couldn't speak. Can I come in? I asked. My voice was calm, but my insides were twisting. The woman took a step back. I walked in. The room was a complete mess. The bedsheets were tangled. There were 2 glasses on the table. Did you know who he was? I asked. The woman sat on the edge of the bed and covered her face with her hands. I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know. How did you meet? I was sitting alone at the bar last night. He came over. We started talking. We had some drinks. I came down here because of a bad breakup. My head was a mess. He was so polite. So attentive. Did he tell you he was married? No. He told me the exact opposite. He said he was single. He said he was down here for business. Something shattered inside me, but I didn't cry. I just kept looking at her. You came up to the room. The woman nodded. Her eyes were full of tears. I am so sorry. If I had known, I swear I would never. Did he leave in the morning? Yes. Around 5 a.m. He said he had an emergency. He said he had to go. Were you planning to see each other again? The woman shook her head frantically. No. He didn't even give me his phone number. He just left. I walked toward the door. With my hand on the handle, I stopped. One more question. Was it his first time? The woman looked at me. What do you mean, with Carter? I'm asking if it seemed like his first time doing something like this. Did he seem used to it? The woman thought for a long time. Then she spoke slowly. He was very comfortable. He didn't hesitate at all. He acted like it was the most natural thing in the world. As if he had done this many times before. I opened the door and walked out. As I was walking down the hallway, my phone rang. It was Carter. Emma, where are you? What did they want at the front desk? Is everything okay? Hearing his voice made a wave of absolute fury rise within me, but I pushed it down. Everything is fine. There was just a small mix-up with our reservation. I handled it. Okay, beautiful. Are you coming up to the room? I'm waiting for you. I'll be up in a minute. I hung up the phone. I got into the elevator. When I reached our floor, I stopped in front of the mirror in the hall. I looked at my face. I had gotten married 2 days ago. 2 days. Just 2 days. When I opened the door to our suite, Carter was out on the balcony. He was looking at the ocean. He turned and smiled at me. Ah, finally. I was starting to worry. I looked at him. This man was my husband. He had slept in the same bed with me last night. When he woke up, he had kissed my cheek. But at midnight, he was in another woman's room. Carter, I said in a deadpan voice. We need to talk. His smile froze. Talk about what? Where were you last night? His face changed. Just for a split second, but I saw it. That tiny hesitation, that brief flash of panic. Then he pulled himself together. What do you mean I was right here? With you. We were sleeping. No, Carter, you weren't sleeping. He went silent. His eyes darted away. Then he looked back at me. Emma, why are you asking these questions? Is everything okay? I saw the hotel security footage. His face turned the color of ash. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Room 412. Jessica Brooks. At 2:47 a.m., you were walking through the lobby. You were holding hands. You kissed after getting into the elevator. You went to her room. You stayed until 5 a.m. Carter's entire body tensed up. Then he took a deep breath and said something I never expected. Listen, Emma. This isn't what you think. Oh, really? Yes. That woman. She's an old friend. We bumped into each other by chance. We just talked. I laughed. It was a bitter, hollow laugh. Cameras don't lie, Carter. I saw you kissing. His face flushed red. Okay. Fine. I made a mistake, but Emma, it was just a kiss. Nothing else happened. I swear. What did you do in her room for 5 hours? We talked. We just talked. Catching up on old times. She told me you said you were single. Carter paused. She must have misunderstood. Don't lie to me, I yelled. It was the first time I had raised my voice. Stop lying to me. Carter stepped closer. He tried to grab my hands. Emma, please. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. But I love you. This shouldn't end our marriage. I pulled my hands away. It's the second day of our marriage, Carter. The second day. I know. And I am so deeply sorry. But Emma, think about it. We were together for 2 years. We had a massive wedding. Our families are happy. Everything is planned. Is everything planned? Is this just a business transaction to you? No, of course not. But let's be realistic. If you're thinking about divorce, think about the consequences. The families, our friends, our social circles. At that moment, I realized it. Carter didn't love me. Maybe he never had. This marriage was just a performance for him. An orderly, planned, controlled performance. Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out of this room right now. Emma, don't be ridiculous. This is our suite. It's not your suite anymore. Get out. Carter glared at me with sudden anger. Are you out of your mind? I am your husband. I am not leaving. I yanked the door open. If you don't walk out right now, I will stand in this hallway and scream at the top of my lungs, telling everyone exactly what you did. Take your pick. A mix of anger, shock, and genuine fear appeared on his face. He grabbed his designer duffel bag and walked toward the door. He paused at the threshold. You're going to regret this, Emma. You can't do this to me. Get out, I repeated. He walked out. I slammed the door shut and locked the deadbolt. Then I slid down to the floor and cried. For the first time, I let the tears fall. They wouldn't stop. My marriage had lasted exactly 2 days. But as I cried, there was something else blooming inside me. Anger. A strong, burning anger, and a sudden, fierce determination. This was just the beginning. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new stories. I sat on the floor of the room, staring at the sunlight streaming through the balcony. My tears had dried, but the sharp pain inside my chest was still there. My phone was ringing non-stop. It was Carter. He didn't just call. He texted. "Emma, please open the door. Let's talk. This is childish behavior. We are married. We can't solve our problems like this. We need to talk before you call my family." Reading that last text, everything clicked into place. Carter was terrified of his family. His father, his mother, his uncles, they had all been at the wedding. They had all celebrated this union. And now Carter was terrified of the scandal coming to light. I looked at my phone and checked the time. It was 3 p.m. I called my mother in New York. "Emma, honey, how are you? How is the honeymoon going?" Hearing her voice made my eyes well up again, but I held it together. "Mom, I need to ask you something." "Ask away, sweetie. When you married Dad, did you trust him?" My mother went silent. There was a long, heavy pause on the line. Then she spoke. "Why are you asking a question like that, Emma? I was just wondering." "Emma, did something happen down there? Your voice sounds strange." I took a deep, shuddering breath. "Mom, Carter cheated on me." "What? Last night? Our first night as a married couple. He was in a hotel room with another woman." My mother took a sharp breath. The shock was evident in her voice. "Are you sure? Maybe there's a misunderstanding." "I saw the hotel security cameras, Mom. The manager showed me." Carter got into an elevator with a woman. Went to her room. Stayed until morning. Oh my God. "Emma, where are you right now? Is Carter with you?" "No." I kicked him out of the suite. "I'm alone in the room right now." "You did the right thing, honey. Listen to me, do not stay there. Come back to New York immediately. I'll book you a flight." "Mom, wait." I don't know what I'm going to do yet." My mother lowered her voice. "Emma, I understand exactly how you feel, but you have to know that this is not your fault. This is Carter's fault, and you do not have to forgive this. But the wedding just happened. Everyone knows. The families don't matter, Emma. Your happiness matters. If you can't be happy with this man, you are under no obligation to stay in this marriage. It's been 2 days, Mom. 2 days. And he did this to me. Imagine what he'll do in a year or in 5 years. She was right. My mother was always right. Mom, I'm going to come back to you, but first I need to figure some things out. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I have to do something." After hanging up the phone, I got up and went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. My face was swollen. My eyes were bloodshot. I washed my face. I brushed my hair. I put on some light makeup. I changed into a clean sundress. Then I started packing my suitcase. I packed all of my own belongings. I didn't touch a single thing of Carter's. I left his clothes exactly where they were. I slung my bag over my shoulder and left the room. Carter wasn't in the hallway. I took the elevator down to the lobby. I walked up to the front desk. "Hello, I am Emma. I'm in Suite 308. I'd like to check out." The clerk looked surprised. "But ma'am, your reservation is for a full week. You have 5 days left." "I know, but I need to leave early." "Personal reasons." "Is there a problem? Do you have a complaint about the resort?" "No. Just a personal situation. Can I please check out?" The clerk looked at the computer. "Certainly, ma'am, but the reservation is under Mr. Carter's name. I would need his authorization. Is it possible for me to just check myself out? Just me?" The clerk hesitated, then called over the assistant manager. A young woman approached. "How can I help you, ma'am? I'm Emma from Suite 308. I want to leave early." The woman looked at me, then spoke softly. You're the guest who went into the security room this morning, aren't you?" I nodded. A look of profound understanding washed over her face. "I understand." "Of course, ma'am. Let us help you. The reservation is technically for 2, but we can process your departure from the system. Will your husband be staying? I don't know. I don't care." "Understood. Where will you be heading? Are you flying back to New York?" I paused. New York. Going back home. Facing the family. Answering everyone's questions. Starting divorce proceedings 2 days after a wedding. "No," I said suddenly. "I'm not going back to New York." "Where are you going?" An idea formed in my head right then. "I want to go to Old Town Key West. I'm looking for a place there. Somewhere small and quiet. The assistant manager smiled warmly. You know, if you'd like, I can help you with that. There's a lovely bed and breakfast right in the historic district. It belongs to my Aunt Martha. It's just a couple blocks from the water. Very quiet, very beautiful, and reasonably priced. Really, yes. In fact, if you want, I can call her right now and book a room for you. That is so kind of you. Please call her. The woman reached for the phone. After speaking for a few minutes, she turned back to me. All set. I got you a room. It's called the Sea Breeze B&B. I'm writing down the address. When you get in a cab, just show them this. They'll know exactly where to go. I took the piece of paper. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. And Miss Emma, I really am so sorry for what you've had to go through. My eyes teared up again, but I didn't cry. Thank you. As I was walking away from the front desk, I spotted Carter. He was sitting on the far side of the lobby talking on his phone. He noticed me, immediately jumped up, hung up the phone, and practically ran toward me. Emma, you finally came out of the room. Please, talk to me. I kept walking toward the exit without looking at him. Carter followed closely behind. Emma, stop. I am talking to you. As I approached the resort's grand entrance, Carter grabbed my arm. I whipped around and glared at him. Take your hand off me. Emma, please just listen to me for 1 minute. I don't want to listen to you, Carter. I saw everything. I know everything. And I have absolutely nothing left to say to you. What is my family going to say? Think about this. My dad, my mom, everyone. What are they going to say? They are your family. Not mine. Not anymore. Emma, we can't get divorced. It's too soon. What will people say? I laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. People. You are worried about what people will say. Well, what am I supposed to say? Am I expected to stay married to a man who betrayed me on our honeymoon just because of what society might think? Carter raised his voice. You are blowing this completely out of proportion. It was a single mistake. A single mistake. What you did on the first night of our marriage is just a single mistake. People around us had started to stare. Other guests in the lobby, the bellhops, everyone was turning to look. Carter noticed. He quickly lowered his voice. Emma, please, let's step outside and talk. Everyone can hear us. I don't care. I don't care about anything anymore. I yanked my arm free and marched out the sliding glass doors. Carter yelled after me. Emma, if you leave right now, don't ever come back. I stopped, turned around, and looked at him one last time. I wasn't planning on it. I walked out of the resort. The sun was still shining brightly. The sky was a brilliant blue. The smell of the salty ocean air hit my nose. In a strange way, I felt lighter at that exact moment. I walked over to the taxi stand. I showed the driver the piece of paper. The Seabreeze B&B. Old Town. You got it, ma'am. About a 30-minute drive. I got into the back seat. I stared out the window. The luxury resort was fading into the distance. Carter was fading into the distance. My marriage was fading into the distance. The driver was a chatty guy. Are you down here for your honeymoon, ma'am? No, I'm not. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. Traveling solo. Yes, I'm by myself. Key West is gorgeous. Especially this time of year, it's pretty laid back. The heavy tourist season hasn't really kicked in yet. You can hit the beach, walk around Duval Street, check out some of the historical spots. Historical spots, yeah. Like the historic Fort Zachary Taylor, for instance. Really beautiful area. You can do sunset sailing or snorkeling trips. Plenty to see. Thank you. 30 minutes later, we were in the heart of Old Town Key West. The streets were narrow, lined with pastel-colored wooden houses, bright bougainvillea spilling over white picket fences and roosters wandering the sidewalks. Everything felt so different here. More authentic, more real. The taxi stopped in front of the Seabreeze B&B. It was a quaint two-story Victorian-style house painted light yellow with white trim. There was a lovely wraparound porch and a wooden sign swinging by the steps. Baskets of ferns hung from the ceiling. I walked inside. There was a small reception desk. A middle-aged woman with a warm, welcoming face came out from the back. Welcome, you must be Emma. My niece Ashley called. I'm Martha. This is my B&B. Hi, Martha. Yes, I'm Emma. Martha looked at me. She studied my face carefully. Then she spoke in a soft, gentle tone. "You're going through a really hard time, aren't you, sweetheart?" At that exact moment, I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I just nodded my head. Martha reached over the counter and rubbed my shoulder. "You've come to a safe place. Nobody can hurt you here. You stay as long as you need. Whether you want to talk or just need quiet, I am here. Thank you. Now let me show you to your room. I gave you the best one in the house. You can see the ocean right from the balcony." We went up to the second floor. She unlocked the door at the end of the hall. The room was small but absolutely charming. A cozy bed with a coastal quilt, an antique wooden dresser, a small writing desk, and 2 wicker chairs. The French doors to the balcony were open, letting the ocean breeze sweep through the room. "You have your own bathroom right there." I put out fresh towels. "Downstairs, there's a kitchen. You can grab coffee or iced tea whenever you like. And if you're around for dinner, we can eat together. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Martha." "You're welcome, dear. Now you just rest a bit. You're exhausted." After Martha left, I dropped my bag. I walked out onto the balcony. The ocean was right in front of me. I could hear the waves crashing. Seagulls were flying overhead. The sun was beginning to set. I sat in one of the wicker chairs and started to think. 2 days ago, I had gotten married. We had hosted a massive, glamorous wedding in New York. 300 guests had attended. We had danced, we had laughed. We cut a multi-tiered cake. Everyone was so happy. But what was the truth? Did Carter ever actually love me? Or was this marriage just the next logical step on his checklist? His family was old money. My family was solidly middle class but respectable. My dad was a retired high school teacher. My mom was a homemaker. My older brother Daniel was an engineer. We were a normal family. Carter's family, however, was in a different league. His father, Arthur, was a titan in Manhattan real estate. They had corporate holding companies, massive development projects, high-level political connections. His mother, Eleanor, was a fixture in New York's high society. She was always front and center at charity galas, museum board meetings, and exclusive events. The first time Carter took me to meet his family, Eleanor had looked me up and down like I was a piece of cheap furniture. "And what exactly do you do?" she had asked. "I work in advertising. I'm a creative director at a mid-sized agency." "I see. Does it pay well?" The question had made me incredibly uncomfortable, but I answered anyway. "I do okay. I make enough to support myself." Eleanor had chuckled patronizingly. "Well, that's fine. Carter's wife won't need to work, of course, but if you want to keep up your little hobby occasionally, I suppose that's all right." A hobby. My career was a hobby in her eyes. Even during the wedding preparations, she had controlled everything. The invitations, the venue at the plaza, the catering, the string quartet. My opinion was occasionally asked, but the final decision always rested with Eleanor. And Carter always took his mother's side. "My mother knows best," he would say. "She has the experience. Whatever she says goes." Maybe this marriage had been a mistake from the very beginning. Maybe Carter hadn't chosen me out of love, but because I was a socially acceptable, unproblematic bride candidate to present to his family. The sun had set, and the sky was growing dark. I could hear noises coming from downstairs. I walked down. There was a cozy dining area with 3 tables. An older couple sat at one. A young woman was sitting alone reading a book at another. Martha walked out of the kitchen. "Emma, dear, come sit. Dinner is ready. I made my famous homemade meatloaf, some garlic mashed potatoes, and fresh green beans. Thank you." I sat at the table. Martha brought out a generous plate of food. "Eat up, sweetheart. I bet you haven't had a bite all day." She was right. I hadn't eaten anything since breakfast. I started eating. It tasted like pure comfort. Martha sat across from me. "Do you have family down here in Florida?" "No, I'm from New York." "Did you come down for a vacation all by yourself?" I paused. What was I supposed to say? Martha waited patiently. She didn't push. Finally, I spoke. "Actually, I was on my honeymoon. But something happened. I left him." Martha nodded slowly. "I see. Did your husband do something wrong by you?" "Yes, something unforgivable. And you're not going to forgive him." "No, I'm not." Martha reached across the table and held my hand. "Good for you, sweetheart. Some things simply shouldn't be forgiven. Especially trust. Once trust is broken, you can't just glue the pieces back together. But everyone says, marriage is about compromise and forgiveness." "Sure it is," Martha said gently. "But there are boundaries. Everything has a limit. You draw a line in the sand for yourself, and when somebody crosses it, you say, stop." Otherwise, you'll spend your whole life suffering. That night, I lay awake in my room for a long time. I was staring up at the ceiling when my phone started vibrating again. This time, it was Carter's mother, Eleanor. "Emma, what on earth is going on down there?" Carter called me. "He said you had a massive fight and that you checked out of the resort right in the middle of your honeymoon." "What kind of ridiculous behavior is this?" Eleanor did. "Carter tell you exactly what happened?" "Yes," he explained it. "It was a silly misunderstanding. He ran into an old friend they were catching up and you took it completely out of context." "I saw the hotel security footage, Eleanor. There was no misunderstanding to take out of context. Camera footage can be misleading, Emma. Maybe the angles were bad. Maybe you're just being dramatic and misinterpreting things." I couldn't believe it. Carter's mother was actually defending her son's blatant infidelity. "Eleanor, I saw what I saw plain as day, and I do not want to continue this marriage." "Don't be absurd. You've been married for 2 days. You cannot possibly be thinking about a divorce." "I am thinking exactly that." "Emma, listen to me right now. You are acting emotional. Your head is clouded. But tomorrow, when you've calmed down, you'll realize what a terrible mistake you're making. Nobody in our family gets divorced. We are a prominent family. We have a reputation to uphold in New York. You will not drag us into a public scandal." "A scandal? Am I the one who caused the scandal?" "Watch your tone with me, Emma. I am your mother-in-law." "Not anymore," I said. "And I'm hanging up now." I ended the call. My hands were shaking. Even Eleanor refused to acknowledge her own son's betrayal. She only cared about the family name and their standing in society. I woke up early the next morning. The sun was just starting to rise. I went out to the balcony. The ocean was completely calm. A few small fishing boats were heading out to the open water. I went downstairs. Martha was in the kitchen brewing coffee. "Good morning, Emma. You're up early." "Good morning, Martha." I couldn't really sleep. I understand. The first few nights are always the hardest. But time heals most things. "Come, let's have some breakfast." After grabbing some toast and coffee, I walked outside. I started wandering the streets of Key West. The narrow lanes, the historic wooden houses, the tropical foliage, every corner looked like a postcard. The locals were friendly. Everyone seemed to say hello as they passed. I walked down to the beach. I took off my sandals and walked in the warm sand. I let the cool water wash over my feet. It felt refreshing. I sat down on a large piece of driftwood near the water. I stared out at the ocean and I cried. I wept silently. Nobody saw me. Nobody heard me. Just me and the ocean. I don't know how many hours I sat there. The sun climbed higher in the sky. It started getting hot. Then I heard a voice. "Excuse me. Are you all right?" I turned. A young woman was standing next to me. She looked about 25. She had short, dark hair, stylish glasses, and a kind face. "I'm fine, thank you." "You looked really upset. Can I help?" "No, I'm just taking a minute to think." The woman smiled softly. "I'm doing the exact same thing. I came out here to clear my head. Do you mind if I sit with you?" "Sure." She sat down next to me. "I'm Rachel. I drove down from Miami." "I'm Emma, from New York." "Is this your first time in the Keys?" "Yes, first time. It's really beautiful. I try to come down at least once a year. I find peace here." We sat in silence for a few minutes. Then, Rachel spoke up. "You know, sometimes life hits us the hardest, when we least expect it. But then we realize that the blow was actually a wake-up call." I looked at her. "Did you go through something terrible too?" "Yeah. About a year ago, I broke up with my boyfriend. We were together for 5 years. I honestly thought we were going to get married. But one day I found out he had been cheating on me for months. My entire world completely collapsed. How did you get through it?" "It was brutally hard. I cried constantly. I was so insanely angry. But eventually I realized he didn't deserve me and that I deserved so much better. I'm much happier now. I take time for myself. I throw myself into my career. I picked up new hobbies. I met new people. Did you ever regret it? Like, do you ever think maybe you should have given him another chance?" Rachel shook her head firmly. "No. Once trust is broken like that, it's impossible to fix. And I made a promise to myself. I will value myself. I will never stay in a relationship that makes me miserable." At that moment, I realized something. Rachel was absolutely right. I needed to value myself. and staying with Carter would be a massive betrayal of myself. Thank you, Rachel, I said. Hearing that really meant a lot to me right now. You're welcome, Emma. If you ever need to vent, I'm around. I'm staying in town for a week. After that day, something started to shift. I stopped crying. I stopped obsessing over Carter. I started thinking purely about myself. And that was the true beginning of freedom. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new stories. It was my third day in Key West. I had finished my morning coffee on the porch of Martha's B&B and was just watching the water. My phone kept ringing, but I didn't even bother looking at it anymore. Carter, Eleanor, even Carter's father, Arthur, had all called. I answered none of them. The only person I called was my mom. We talked every day. She was worried, but she understood my need for space. Emma, honey, when do you think you'll come back? She had asked the night before. I don't know, Mom. I want to stay here a few more days. I need to pull myself together. Okay, sweetie. Whatever you need. Just know that we are right here waiting. Come home whenever you're ready. That morning I was meeting up with Rachel. She had texted me the night before. Let's go check out Fort Zachary Taylor tomorrow. It's a gorgeous state park. I'd love to walk around with you. I had agreed. I stepped out of my room wearing a light summer dress and tied my hair back. Looking in the mirror, I actually recognized the woman staring back. The dark circles under my eyes had faded a bit. I had a little color in my cheeks. The Florida sun was doing me good. Rachel and I met at the entrance to the park. The sun was blazing. The sky was cloudless. Rachel was wearing a bright pink sundress and holding a small canvas tote. Morning, Emma. Ready. We're going to have an awesome day exploring the island. I smiled. Morning, Rachel. Yes, I'm ready. We walked through the historic brick fortress. The heavy stone walls, the old cannons, the dark corridors. Every corner held hundreds of years of history. Rachel acted as my tour guide. This fort was built back in the mid-1800s. It was used during the Civil War. Now it's a state park, and the beach right outside is arguably the best in Key West. We walked along the trails and checked out the historical artifacts. Every single piece had a story. I, meanwhile, was silently turning over my own story. Just days ago, I had been a bride. Now I was walking through an old military fort with a stranger trying to dig myself out from the wreckage of my own life. We climbed up to the top of the fort's walls. From up there, you could see where the Gulf of Mexico met the Atlantic Ocean. The water was a stunning gradient of blues and greens. The coastal wind hit my face, blowing my hair back. It's breathtaking up here, I said. Rachel stood beside me. Isn't it? Every time I come up here, I get the exact same feeling. Absolute freedom. It feels like all your problems are left down on the ground and you're just up here with the wind, the sky, and the ocean. That's exactly how it feels. Rachel turned to look at me. Emma, I know this might be crossing a line, but I've been wondering. What actually happened? Why are you in Key West all by yourself? I took a deep breath. Maybe it was time to say it out loud. Maybe telling someone else would lighten the heavy weight in my chest. I got married a few days ago, I said. My voice wavered, but I pushed through. We were on our honeymoon at one of the luxury resorts up the coast. On our second day, the hotel manager called me into the security room. I watched security footage of my husband hooking up with another woman. He went to her room in the middle of the night. He stayed until morning. Rachel's face fell in pure shock. Oh my God, Emma. I am so incredibly sorry. That is horrifying. It is. But you know what the worst part was? When I confronted him, instead of genuinely apologizing, his immediate concern was what his family would say. He was terrified of society finding out. He wasn't scared of losing me. He was terrified of a public scandal. Wow. So he didn't really love you. He never loved me. Maybe I was just an appropriate candidate for a wife. I looked good on paper for his elite family, but there was absolutely no love. Rachel reached out and squeezed my hand. Emma, you are going through absolute hell right now, but trust me, you made the right call. You walked away from that man, because staying with him would have slowly destroyed you. Every single day you would have looked at him and wondered, is he going to cheat on me again today? That isn't a life. That's a prison sentence. My eyes watered, but everyone back home keeps telling me I acted too fast, that maybe I should have given him a second chance. Hell no, Emma. Some mistakes don't deserve second chances. Especially a betrayal on your honeymoon. If he has the nerve to cheat on you during the first 48 hours of your marriage, I don't even want to imagine what he'd be capable of doing 5 years down the line. She was right. Rachel was 100% right. We spent the rest of the day walking around Old Town. We wandered down Duval Street, popped into quirky little boutiques, looked at handmade jewelry and art galleries. We sat at a shady outdoor cafe and drank iced lattes. We ate fresh seafood right by the marina as the sun went down. When I returned to the B&B that evening, Martha was waiting for me on the porch. There was an anxious look on her face. "Emma, sweetheart, someone came by this afternoon. Your husband, Carter. He found out you were staying here. He was demanding to see you." My heart instantly kicked into overdrive. "What did you tell him?" "I told him you had zero interest in seeing him and to kindly get off my property." But he was stubborn. He said, "I'll wait." He sat over at that coffee shop across the street from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. Then he finally left, but he said he was coming back tomorrow. My hands started to shake. Carter was here. He had tracked me down. "Martha, I do not want to see him." "I know, honey. Don't you worry. If he steps foot on this porch again, I'll call the cops. But maybe you need to face him one last time, just to say whatever you need to say to shut the door for good." I didn't sleep well that night. Knowing Carter was lurking around the island made my skin crawl. What did he want? Why couldn't he just leave me alone? I woke up early the next morning. I peeked out the window. Sure enough, Carter was sitting at the outdoor patio of the coffee shop across the street. He was staring at the B&B. He was wearing an expensive linen shirt. He was freshly shaven, but he looked completely exhausted. I went downstairs for breakfast. Martha looked out the window, worried. "He's back. Been there since sunrise. I know I saw him." "What are you going to do, Emma?" I took a deep breath. "I'm going to go talk to him. But not here. I'm going to meet him somewhere public, say my piece, and finish this once and for all." Martha nodded slowly. "Smart girl. But keep your guard up. Do not let him manipulate you." I checked my phone. I had texts from Carter. "Emma, please talk to me. Just 5 minutes. I'm right across the street." I typed back, "Meet me by the waterfront park near the marina. Noon." His reply was instant. "Thank you. I'll be there." I checked the time. I still had 3 hours. I took a shower, got dressed, and looked in the mirror. I reminded myself that I needed to be a brick wall. I could not show an ounce of weakness in front of Carter. At 1:145, I walked out the front door. I headed slowly toward the waterfront. Carter was still at the cafe. When he saw me walking, he jumped up. He tried to offer a smile, but it looked pathetic. "Emma," I walked right past him. "We're meeting at the park. Don't follow closely behind me." When I reached the park, I sat on a bench facing the ocean. A few minutes later, Carter arrived. He sat down next to me, but I made sure there was a solid gap between us. "Thank you for agreeing to speak with me," he said. "This is the last time we're speaking. So say what you need to say." Carter rubbed his hands together nervously. "Emma, I know I did something terrible. I made a massive, unforgivable mistake. But please listen to me. I love you. I really do love you. I don't even know what happened that night. I had been drinking heavily. My head was completely messed up. That woman's name is Jessica, and you told her you were a single businessman." Carter hung his head. "I know. It was a stupid, drunken mistake. But Emma, think about this logically. We've been together for 2 years. We just had a huge wedding. Our families are thrilled. Everyone is expecting us to start our lives to have kids. We cannot just end this marriage like this. Why can't we? Because it's too fast. What will people say? What will our families say? A 2-day marriage will be the laughingstock of New York. Again, we're back to what people will say. Emma, please be reasonable. Divorce is a brutal, ugly process. The lawyers, the courts dividing assets. It will be exhausting for both of us and for our families. Why would we drag everyone through that? Why can't we just wipe the slate clean and start over?" I looked at him. I looked directly into his eyes and I saw absolutely nothing. No genuine remorse, no shame, no love, just anxiety, pure panic over his own reputation and future. "Carter," I said, my voice steady and cold, "you do not love me. Honestly, you probably never did. I was just a project to you. A box to check on your 5-year plan. A perfectly acceptable bride for your family's social standing. A trophy wife to trot out at galas. I wasn't an actual human being to you." "No, Emma, that's completely wrong." "It's not wrong. Because if you actually loved me, you wouldn't have been rolling around in bed with a random woman on the very first night of our honeymoon. And if you actually loved me when I confronted you with the video evidence, you would have begged for my forgiveness. You wouldn't have panicked over what society was going to think. Carter stood up. His voice got louder, his frustration leaking out. Fine, fine, Emma. Yes, maybe I'm not some hopeless romantic. Maybe I'm not overly emotional. But this is a marriage. Marriage isn't just about love. Marriage is a partnership. It's a responsibility. It takes effort from both sides. Marriage is built on trust, Carter, and you completely nuked that trust on day one. Silence fell between us. Carter sat back down and buried his face in his hands. He didn't speak for a long time. Finally, he looked up. So what do you want? You want a divorce, yes. Are you absolutely sure? Because once we start filing papers, there is no turning back. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. Carter nodded slowly. Fine. Then I'll have my legal team contact you. We'll start the process. Just so you know, Carter, I don't want your money. I'm not asking for alimony. I'm not asking for a piece of your trust fund. I just want this over. I don't want anything from you either. I just want out of this mess. Carter stood up. He looked down at me one last time. Maybe you're right. Maybe this was a mistake from the start. We obviously wanted completely different things. Yeah. I wanted a real partner. You just wanted good PR. Carter turned and walked away. He didn't look back. I watched him walk down the boardwalk, and strangely, I felt no sadness. Only immense relief. That evening, I called Rachel. I met with Carter. We agreed to a divorce. Rachel was quiet on the other end for a second. Then she spoke. How do you feel? Relieved. Free. Then you made the exact right choice. Look, get dressed. I'm taking you out tonight. I want to show you a place. Where? It's a surprise. Be ready by 8. I'll come pick you up. At 8 p.m., Rachel pulled up in front of the B&B in a rideshare. Get in, where are we going? You'll see. The car drove us away from the main tourist strip, heading toward a quieter, more upscale marina area. We stopped in front of a beautiful, slightly hidden waterfront restaurant. It had wooden decks, tiki torches, and string lights reflecting off the water. What is this place? One of my favorite hidden gems in the Keys. Best seafood, amazing wine, and you get a perfect view of the water at night. We went inside. The host took us to a corner table right by the open windows. The ocean breeze blew in, and the stars were so bright you couldn't count them. Rachel ordered a bottle of expensive white wine crab cakes, blackened mahi-mahi, and key lime pie for dessert. Everything was phenomenal. Rachel, today was a massive turning point for me. I faced him. I made the choice to divorce. And for the first time, I genuinely felt free. Rachel raised her wine glass. Then tonight is your Independence Day. Cheers. We clinked our glasses and drank the wine. We talked, we laughed, we shared our life stories. Rachel told me more about her past in Miami. I told her about my life in the ad agency in New York. 2 women, essentially strangers a few days ago, united by similar betrayals, now sitting at the same table looking forward to the future with hope. When I got back to the B&B around midnight, Martha was still awake. She was in the kitchen brewing some herbal tea. Emma, honey, you're back late. Are you all right? I'm great, Martha. I am really great. I talked to Carter today. We are getting a divorce. Martha gave a warm, proud smile. That is the right decision, sweetheart. You deserve so much better. You deserve to be truly happy. Thank you, Martha. I am so lucky I stumbled into your B&B, and I'm lucky you walked through my door. You stay here as long as you need. This is your home now. That night I sat out on the balcony. I looked at the stars. I listened to the Atlantic crash against the shore, and I thought, what was I going to do next? Was I going to go back to New York City? Go back to the frantic agency life? Or was I going to stay here? I made a decision the next morning. I called my mom. Mom, I'm going to stay in Key West for a while longer. I'll come visit New York eventually, but for now I'm staying here. Okay, sweetie, whatever you want. Oh, and don't worry about work. I actually spoke with your boss. He knows what happened. He said your job is safe, and he's waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much, Mom. After hanging up, I went down to the beach. I started walking along the shoreline. My bare feet sank into the wet sand. The ocean breeze whipped across my face. Suddenly I noticed someone. Far down the beach, sitting near some rocks. As I got closer, I realized it was a man. He looked to be in his mid-30s. He had somewhat long sun-bleached hair and a scruffy beard. He was holding a leather-bound notebook, writing something. As I walked past, he looked up and smiled. "Good morning." "Morning," I replied. "Beautiful day, isn't it? It really is. I don't think I've seen you around this stretch of the beach before." "Yeah, I'm from New York. Kind of on an extended vacation." He extended a hand. "I'm Ethan. I live down here. I'm not exactly a famous author, but I'm trying to be a writer." I shook his hand. "I'm Emma. Nice to meet you." Ethan tapped his notebook. "I write short stories. About the ocean, about the locals, just about life. The Keys give me a lot of inspiration." "That sounds wonderful. I do a lot of writing too, mostly ad copy, but nothing as creative as that. You don't have to be a professional to write. You just have to feel it." I sat down on a nearby rock. We talked. Ethan told me he was originally from Chicago. He had packed up his car and moved to the Florida Keys 5 years ago. He rented a small cottage by the water, did freelance copywriting to pay the bills, and spent the rest of his time writing his novel and swimming. "Why did you choose the Keys?" I asked. "Because I was completely suffocating in Chicago. The corporate rat race, the freezing winters, the traffic, the noise. One day, I just hit my breaking point. I said enough is enough, and drove south until I couldn't drive anymore. Best decision I ever made. Do you ever regret it? Never. Because down here I actually found myself. I found peace. I found real freedom. Just like me, I thought. I had found my freedom down here too." After that morning, Ethan and I started running into each other frequently. Almost every morning, we'd meet on the beach, walk and talk. Sometimes we'd grab coffee in town. Sometimes we'd just sit and watch the waves. One day, Ethan asked me a direct question. "Emma, why are you really here? What's the real story?" I paused. Then I told him everything. The lavish plaza wedding, the honeymoon, the security cameras, the betrayal, the pending divorce. Ethan listened intently. He didn't interrupt me once. He just listened. When I finished, he finally spoke. "You went through hell, Emma, but you absolutely made the right call. Because you chose yourself. You chose your own happiness. I know. But sometimes my brain messes with me. I wonder if I acted too fast, if I made a mistake." "No, Emma. You didn't make a mistake. You listened to your gut, and your gut doesn't lie." In that moment, I felt a spark. I looked into Ethan's eyes and I saw something incredibly rare. Genuine understanding, sincerity, and warmth. "Thank you, Ethan. Talking to you really helps clear my head. I love talking to you too, Emma." After that day, my relationship with Ethan shifted into a new gear. We weren't just two strangers shooting the breeze on the beach anymore. There was an undeniable connection between us. But neither of us rushed anything. We both knew we needed to take it slow. One evening, Ethan invited me over to his place. It was a small, weathered wooden cottage right off the water. The inside was wall-to-wall books. Framed photographs of the ocean hung everywhere. "This place is incredible," I said. "Thanks. I fixed it up myself." Slowly, piece by piece. We sat out on his back deck. The sun was going down, turning the sky into a canvas of neon pinks, oranges, and deep purples. "Emma," Ethan said, his voice turning a bit serious. "I want to ask you something, but don't feel pressured." "Okay, ask. Are you going to go back to New York?" I stopped. I thought about it. New York. The ad agency, my family, the concrete jungle, the ghosts of my past life with Carter. I don't know. I honestly haven't decided yet. What if you stayed here in Key West? Yeah. Start fresh. Do your freelance work, get your own place, build a new life. But my whole life is in New York. Is your whole life there? Or just your old life? He had a point. What was really waiting for me in Manhattan? A stressful office I could find work anywhere. Friends, real friends would visit me or stay in touch. My family, they just wanted me to be happy wherever that was. Maybe you're right, I said quietly. Maybe staying down here is exactly what I need. Ethan smiled warmly. I'm not trying to pressure you into anything, but I just want you to know, if you stayed, I'd be really happy. My heart did a little flip. Really? Yeah, because being around you makes me happy, Emma. Talking to you, walking on the beach with you, just spending time together. All of it. I looked at him. I looked deep into his eyes and I saw it. Pure, unfiltered affection. I'm really happy when I'm with you too, Ethan. Sitting on that deck, watching the Florida sun dip below the horizon, I had a profound realization. Maybe life was handing me a massive second chance. Maybe the disaster of marrying Carter was just the painful detour I had to take to finally meet Ethan. Maybe everything really did happen for a reason. The next morning, I sat down with Martha at the B&B. Martha, I need your advice. Is it hard to find work down here? Martha looked surprised. Are you thinking about staying on the island? Yes, I really am. Martha's face lit up with a huge smile. Oh, that is wonderful news. I am so thrilled. But as for work? What kind of work are you looking for? I'm in advertising. Creative direction, copywriting, marketing campaigns. I was thinking maybe I could do it remotely or find local clients. Well, there are dozens of high-end resorts, tour companies, and large restaurants in the Keys. They all need marketing and PR. A lot of them outsource to big agencies in Miami. You could absolutely scoop up freelance contracts here. That's a great idea. Plus, I'm going to call my boss in New York. Maybe I can negotiate a fully remote position. Perfect plan. And listen to me, Emma. While you're getting on your feet, this B&B is your home. You stay in that room as long as you need to. Thank you so much, Martha. Later that afternoon, I had a long video call with my boss back in Manhattan. I explained my situation. He was surprisingly understanding. Emma, you are one of our best creative directors. I do not want to lose you to a competitor. If you want to live in Florida and work remotely, we can make that happen. You can fly up for the major quarterly pitches, but you can run your team from down there. Seriously, thank you so much, David. Don't thank me. Just keep producing great work. Be happy. Everything was falling perfectly into place. I had a job. Now I needed a place to live. Ethan helped me hunt for apartments. We found a beautiful little 2-bedroom condo on the quieter side of the island. It was a short bike ride to the beach, and the rent was reasonable compared to New York prices. This is perfect, I told Ethan as we stood in the empty living room. I'm going to sign the lease. Are you completely sure? I've never been more sure. I'm building my new life right here. 2 weeks later, I flew back to New York. I packed up my apartment, put my furniture in storage, and shipped some boxes down south. I hugged my mom and my brother Daniel goodbye. Mom, I'm officially moving to Florida. But don't worry, I'll fly up to visit and you guys have to come down for vacations. My mom hugged me tightly, tears in her eyes. As long as you're happy, Emma. Wherever you are, I support you. Thanks, Mom. When I flew back into Key West Airport, Ethan and Martha were waiting at the arrivals gate. They drove me to my new condo and helped me move my boxes in. That night, I slept in my new bed, in my new home. I could see the moonlight reflecting off the ocean from my window. I could hear the faint sound of the waves. And in that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I was making the right choices, surrounded by the right people. Life had given me a second chance, and I was going to grab it with both hands. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new stories. 6 months had passed since I moved. 6 months. Sometimes I couldn't believe how incredibly fast the time had flown by. But every day, every hour, every minute felt valuable. Because I was finally truly living. I woke up early that morning. The sun was just rising over the water. I walked out onto my balcony with a mug of coffee and watched the ocean. The seagulls were circling and a few charter fishing boats were heading out of the marina. It was the same view every morning, and I never got tired of it. My phone rang. It was Ethan. Good morning, beautiful. You awake? I smiled. Morning. Yeah, I'm out on the balcony drinking coffee. Do you remember what today is? I thought for a second. Was it a holiday? Then it hit me. It's exactly 6 months since the day I arrived in Key West. The day I bolted from my honeymoon and checked into Martha's B&B. Exactly. 6 months. And I want to celebrate. Get dressed. I've got a surprise for you. What's the surprise? If I tell you it's not a surprise, be ready in an hour. I'll pick you up. I hung up the phone and enthusiastically started getting ready. I took a shower, curled my hair a little, put on a nice floral sundress, and did my makeup. Looking in the mirror, I flashed back to the Emma from 6 months ago. That devastated, broken, lost woman in a hotel bathroom. Now a strong, happy, radiant woman was looking back at me. Ethan pulled up to my condo exactly an hour later. When I opened the door, he was standing there with a massive bouquet of red roses. Thank you for the best 6 months of my life, he said with a huge grin. And here's to many, many more. I took the flowers, my heart melting. They are gorgeous. Thank you so much, Ethan. Come on, let's hit the road. We've got a bit of a drive. We hopped into his Jeep. We drove out of Key West, heading up the overseas highway. The scenery was breathtaking, the endless stretch of the turquoise Atlantic on one side and the calm Gulf on the other. Where exactly are we going? I asked. You'll see soon enough. About an hour later, we pulled into a quiet, heavily wooded area. We were on Big Pine Key. It was completely different from the bustling tourist vibe of Key West. It was rural, peaceful, filled with pine trees and small, modest homes tucked away down dirt roads. Ethan parked the Jeep in front of a rustic single-story house with a massive wraparound porch. We're here. What is this place? My hometown. I basically grew up out here. My parents still live in this house. I froze. You brought me to meet your parents, Ethan smiled gently. Yeah. I want you to meet them. I talk about you all the time. They've been dying to meet you. My heart started doing backflips. Meeting the parents. This was huge. It meant Ethan was serious. He was thinking long-term. We walked up the wooden steps. An older woman opened the screen door. She had a warm, deeply lined face and short gray hair. When she saw Ethan, her face lit up. Ethan. Oh, my boy, welcome home. Ethan hugged his mom tightly. Hey, Mom missed you. Mom, this is Emma. The Emma I've been telling you all about. Ethan's mother turned to me and took both my hands in hers. Welcome, sweetie. Ethan has not stopped talking about you. It is so wonderful to finally have you in our home. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oh, please call me Nancy. Come on in. We walked inside. The house was cozy and smelled like cinnamon and wood smoke. It wasn't a mansion in the Hamptons. It was a real lived-in home. The walls were covered with framed family photos, Ethan's childhood baseball pictures and fishing trophies. Ethan's father was in the living room. He was a tall man with a thick graying beard, wearing a flannel shirt. He stood up and smiled. Welcome home, son. And you must be Emma. Yes, sir. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Thomas. Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. We sat around the living room. Nancy brought out a pitcher of sweet tea, a plate of homemade cornbread, and some snacks. Eat up, don't be shy, she insisted. As we ate, we talked. Thomas was a retired high school history teacher who had taught at the local school for 30 years. Nancy was a homemaker who was famous in their small community for her massive vegetable garden. So, Emma, where are your folks from? Nancy asked. They live up in New York. I'm from the city, but I permanently moved down to Key West recently. How do you like island life compared to the big city? I love it. It feels like home now. Thomas chuckled. Ethan couldn't handle the city either. Ran off to Chicago, then came sprinting back down to the Keys. But we get it. Not everyone is built for that kind of chaos. Later that afternoon, Nancy took me out to the backyard. It was a massive plot of land. She had rows of tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers, and jalapenos. In one corner there was a large key lime tree, and in the other a sprawling mango tree. This garden is incredible, I told her. Thank you, dear. I spend hours out here every day, getting my hands in the dirt. It brings me peace. I get that completely. The ocean does that for me. I sit and watch the water every morning. Nancy turned to me, her expression turning serious but kind. Emma, honey, I want to ask you something point blank. Ethan loves you. He loves you very, very much. Do you love him? I was slightly taken aback by the directness, but I answered without hesitation. Yes, I love him very much. Nancy's face softened into a relieved smile. Good, because Ethan is a wonderful man. He had a hard time up in Chicago. He really struggled to find his path, but he finally found his footing. And now he found you. You are so good for him. He's been incredibly good for me too, Nancy. Then you hold on to each other tightly. Life throws a lot of curveballs, but when you've got the right partner, you can hit them out of the park. That evening, we had a huge family dinner. Nancy had smoked some incredible BBQ ribs, baked beans, macaroni and cheese, and a fresh coleslaw. It was heavenly. After dinner, Ethan asked me to take a walk with him in the backyard. The sky was pitch black, but it was lit up by thousands of stars. The crickets were chirping in the trees. I love your family, I told him, as we walked under the mango tree. They are so incredibly sweet. Your mom pulled me aside and basically told me not to let you go. Ethan laughed. Did she really? Yup. And I have zero intention of letting you go. Ethan stopped walking. He took both of my hands in his. He looked deeply into my eyes. Emma, I love you. I love you more than words can say. 6 months ago, I met a woman on a beach who looked like her entire world had ended. But today, I am looking at a strong, brilliant, beautiful woman who shines brighter than the sun. And I want to spend the rest of my life with that woman. Tears immediately flooded my eyes. I love you too, Ethan. You taught me how to breathe again. You gave me hope. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it. Inside was a ring. It wasn't a massive, flashy diamond like the one Carter had bought to impress his country club friends. It was a simple, elegant vintage silver band with a modest stone. It was perfect. Emma, will you marry me? The world stopped spinning. Time stood still. It was just me and Ethan in the quiet Florida night. I thought back to 6 months ago. The extravagant wedding, the incredibly expensive ring, the 300 guests, and the complete lack of actual love. Now I was standing in a backyard on a small island looking at a simple silver ring, feeling a love more profound than anything I had ever known. Yes, I choked out, wiping tears from my cheeks. Yes, Ethan, I will marry you. Ethan slid the ring onto my finger. He pulled me in and we kissed. It was unequivocally the happiest moment of my entire life. When we walked back into the house, Nancy and Thomas were hovering near the kitchen, clearly waiting in suspense. Nancy saw the ring on my finger and screamed. They're getting married! My boy is getting married! She ran over and hugged us both tightly, tears streaming down her face. Thomas's eyes were glistening too, though he tried to play it cool as he hugged Ethan and shook my hand. So, when's the wedding? Nancy asked, excitedly wiping her eyes with a dish towel. Ethan looked at me. I don't know what you think, Emma, but I don't want some huge, stressful production. I just want a small, intimate ceremony. That is exactly what I want, I agreed immediately. Nancy clapped her hands. Then we'll do it right here, a backyard wedding. We'll invite the neighbors, set up some lights. It'll be beautiful. We stayed the night in Ethan's old childhood bedroom. It was a small, cramped bed, but it didn't matter. We were so happy we couldn't stop smiling. The next day, we drove back down to Key West. The very first thing I did was call my mom. Mom, I have some news. What is it, sweetie? You sound so happy. I'm getting married, Mom. Dead silence on the line. Then she finally spoke. To who, Ethan? Yes, to Ethan. He proposed to me last night and I said yes. My mom took a deep, audible breath. Emma, are you absolutely sure? You divorced Carter just 6 months ago. Isn't it a bit fast, Mom? I know it seems fast to everyone else. But Ethan is different. He actually loves me for me. And I am completely in love with him. I found the right person this time. Okay, sweetie. If you are truly happy, then I am happy for you. But I want to formally meet this Ethan. You need to bring him up here. We will, Mom. We'll fly up to New York soon. 2 weeks later, Ethan and I flew to Manhattan. My mom, my dad, and my brother Daniel were waiting at my parents' house in Queens. My mom had cooked a massive Italian feast. When my mom actually met Ethan, she instantly warmed up to him. Welcome, Ethan. Emma has told us so many wonderful things about you. Thank you for having me. I've been really looking forward to meeting all of you. We sat around the dining table for hours. Ethan told them about his life, his journey from Chicago to the Keys, his writing, and his freelance business. My parents listened intently, asking questions. Finally, my mom put her fork down and looked directly at him. Ethan, you seem like a genuinely good man, but you have to understand that Emma went through absolute hell recently. If you are going to marry my daughter, you have to promise me you will take care of her heart. You have to make her happy. I promise you, Ethan said, his voice unwavering and completely sincere. Emma is the most important thing in my world. I will spend every day making sure she knows how much I love her. My mom smiled softly. Then you have our blessing. When is the wedding? In 2 months. It's going to be a very small backyard wedding down in the Keys. My mom nodded. We wouldn't miss it for the world. For the next 2 months, we planned the wedding, but this time the process was entirely different. There were no absurd floral budgets, no agonizing over seating charts for people I didn't even like, no catering tastings with snobby chefs. It was just going to be a small backyard gathering filled with people we actually loved, and pure, authentic joy. The wedding day arrived. We were at Thomas and Nancy's house on Big Pine Key. They had strung fairy lights through the trees, set up wooden tables with wildflower centerpieces, and hired a local acoustic band. I wore a simple, elegant white bohemian dress. I left my hair down in loose waves and wore very light makeup. Ethan wore a tan linen suit with no tie. The local town mayor officiated the ceremony under the shade of the large mango tree. We said our I do's. We exchanged rings, signed the marriage certificate, and we were husband and wife. In that moment, a flash of my previous wedding crossed my mind. 300 people in a grand Manhattan ballroom, a dress that cost more than a car, gourmet caviar appetizers, and zero happiness. Now there were maybe 50 people here. We were eating homemade BBQ on paper plates in a backyard, and my heart felt like it was going to burst with joy. After the ceremony, my mom came up to me. Her eyes were wet with happy tears. "Sweetie, I can see the real happiness radiating off you today. There is a light in your eyes I haven't seen in years." "Thank you, Mom. I got it right this time." My mom hugged me tight. "You deserve this. You went through a terrible storm, but you finally found your safe harbor." That night, Ethan and I stayed in his childhood bedroom again. It was simple, it was quiet, and it was perfect, because our love was enormous. The next day, we left for a short, low-key honeymoon. We didn't book an ultra-luxury resort. We just drove up the Florida coast, stopping at small beach towns, eating at roadside seafood shacks, and swimming in the ocean. It was completely natural and deeply intimate. A week later, we returned to our condo in Key West. Our home, the place where we would build our life together. From that point on, we settled into a beautiful routine. Ethan worked on his novel, and I ran my advertising campaigns from my home office. We drank coffee together on the balcony every morning. We walked on the beach every afternoon. We swam in the ocean. One day, we went into Old Town to visit Martha. We sat on the porch of the Seabreeze B&B drinking iced tea. "Emma, honey," Martha said, smiling at me over her glass. "You walked up these steps a little over 8 months ago. You were broken, devastated, and completely lost. And look at you now. You are glowing. You are so strong. It's partly because of you, Martha. You gave me a safe place to land. You made me feel secure." "Oh, nonsense. You were always strong, sweetheart. You just needed a minute to remember it," Ethan chimed in. "Martha, we owe you everything. If you hadn't taken her in, maybe we never would have crossed paths." Martha laughed heartily. "It's fate. The universe works in mysterious ways." Ethan was down here waiting to find Emma, and Emma came down here to find Ethan. 3 months later, I noticed something. My period was late. At first, I brushed it off as stress from work, but a few days later, I bought a test at the pharmacy. Positive. I was pregnant. My heart hammered against my ribs. A baby. Ethan's baby. That evening, as we were sitting at the dining table eating dinner, I dropped the news. "Ethan, I have to tell you something." "What is it? You look serious." I'm pregnant." Ethan froze halfway through, taking a bite. His eyes went wide. Then a massive grin spread across his face. He jumped out of his chair, ran over, and pulled me into a huge hug. "Are you serious? I'm going to be a dad." "Yes, you're going to be a dad." Ethan actually started crying. Happy, overwhelmed tears. And then I started crying too. That night we sat out on the balcony. Ethan kept his hand resting gently on my stomach. "Do you think it's a boy or a girl?" he asked softly. "I don't know, and honestly I don't care. As long as they are healthy." "This kid is going to be so incredibly lucky," Ethan whispered. "Because they get to have you as a mom, and they get to have you as a dad." 9 months later, our baby arrived. A little girl. Tiny, beautiful, and perfectly healthy. We named her Marina, because the sea had given us everything. It had given us peace, healing, and it had given us each other. Now, a year later, I am sitting on the balcony watching the Atlantic Ocean. I have Marina resting in my arms, and Ethan is sitting right beside me. Everything is perfect. Sometimes my mind wanders back. What if Carter had never cheated on me? What if I hadn't found out? I probably would have stayed married to him. I would be living in a penthouse in New York, trapped in a cold, loveless, performative marriage, suffocating under Eleanor's rules. But if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have Ethan. I wouldn't have Marina. Maybe everything really does happen for a reason. Maybe that brutal, searing pain was just the necessary fire I had to walk through to reach my actual, genuine happiness. Ethan nudges my shoulder. "What are you thinking about so deeply?" "Just life. How crazy it is that it can change so drastically." "It changed for the better, didn't it?" "Yes. So much for the better." Marina shifts in my arms and babbles happily. She reaches a tiny, chubby hand out toward the water. Ma, she coos. I laugh. Yes, baby girl. The ocean. The beautiful ocean. Ethan takes my free hand and kisses the back of it. I love you, Emma. I love you too, Ethan. I realize then that life will sometimes break you. It will inflict terrible pain, shatter your illusions, and knock you to the ground. But in the end, it makes you stronger. It clears the wreckage to show you where true happiness actually lies. I am Emma. I got married at 29. 2 days later, I filed for divorce. But now I am 30 years old. I have a deeply loving marriage. I have a beautiful daughter. And most importantly, I found myself. When the hotel manager called me into the security room on the second day of my honeymoon, I thought it was going to be the absolute worst day of my life. But in reality, it was the first day of the best part of my life. Because that day I returned to myself. That day I chose freedom. That day I took the very first step toward authentic joy. And now, here I am, in Key West by the edge of the ocean, living a beautiful life surrounded by the people I truly love. My story started with unbearable heartbreak, but it ended with profound happiness. And I know that there are so many more beautiful days ahead of us. Because life does give second chances. We just have to be brave enough to see them, accept them, and embrace them. I embraced mine, and I have never ever regretted it. Ultimately, this story proves that a painful loss can actually be your greatest victory. Sometimes life violently rips you out of one place only to carefully plant you where you were always meant to bloom. Sometimes your darkest, most terrifying moments are simply the dawn breaking on your brightest days. Emma's story is about courage. It's about loving yourself enough to walk away. It's about demanding what you deserve. And above all, it's about actively choosing your own happiness. If you are going through a dark and difficult time right now, please remember, this is temporary. The sun always rises after the fiercest hurricane. Peace always follows the pain. Just stay strong, believe in your own worth, and absolutely never give up.